All right, so you saw that we have these two objects right here. And by the way that we refer to these objects are instances, right? As soon as you say new, right, new, this becomes an instance of iPhone. So here we have two instances of iPhone, right? So the class iPhone. So what I'm going to do here is actually delete the iPhone X Max. So I don't need it for now. Let's keep things super simple for now, right? So here you see that we have iPhone. So this is the class. We give it a name, and then we say new, and then iPhone. So when we say new, we are creating a new instance, right? But then here you see that we are actually setting those values, right? So wouldn't it better if we could pass the actual values here? So 7 plus, price, and then false, without having to do this, right? So this is what constructors are. So right here, let me go back to the actual iPhone class. So I'm going to press Command and then click on the actual class. And here, let's go ahead and simply say public and then iPhone. And here, so by default, right? So by default, every single class comes with a default constructor. So this is why I can say new iPhone, and here I'm not passing anything. So this is this guy right here. So if I was to say private and then go back, you can see that now this is giving me an error. So it's saying that the actual constructor has a private modifier. It is private, so it is only accessible within that class. But we don't want that, right? We want that to be public. So here, so this is public, right? But if I get rid of this, this is given to us by default, right? So now let's go ahead and actually create a second constructor. So let me just leave this here so you know exactly what is happening. So here, let's define a second constructor, and let's go ahead and say public, and then iPhone, and then here what we want is to receive a string value, and simply say model, and then double, and then price, and then Boolean is water resistant. So let me put this on a new line so you see everything. There we go. Now open curly brackets and then close them, and then inside, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to say this dot and then model equals to, and then model, this dot price equals to price, and then this dot and then water resistant is water resistant equals to is water resistant. So what is happening here? So this dot model refers to the current instance of the current class, right? Which is this guy right here. So this model, and then this model right here comes from the constructor. So if I go back to the classes where I've got my main class, so here, now check this out. I can say that this will take 7 and then plus, and then 200, and then finally false. So if I put this on a new line again, so you see exactly what is happening. And by the way, so you see this highlighting here, so model and then column. Don't try to add that, because this is IntelliJ helping us out with the actual arguments within our constructor, right? So here now you see that we are passing the initial values that we want instead of using the setter methods for setting the actual values. So if I now comment this out and then run the program, you should see that we have 7 plus 200 and then false, right? So the exact same thing. So if I go back to the actual class again, and here you can see that this now is being unused, so it's not used anymore, and we are using this constructor to set the initial values. So that's really what constructors are. So here, let me actually go back again and show you that if I uncomment that, right? So let's say that now, we want to change the price. So here, let me just delete that. So we want to change the price for the initial iPhone, right? So now let's say that this has been, I don't know, 2 more years, and now this is only worth £100. So if I now run the program, you can see that we've changed the price to 100. So initially it was 200, and then we changed it with our setter method here. So set price to 100. Finally, with constructors, you can have as many constructors that you want, right? So let's say that you want to have one constructor that only sets the actual model. So what I'm going to do is simply say public and then iPhone and then string and then model. So here what you need to be careful is that they cannot be identical, right? So right here, if I try to have all of this again, right? So let me just put that. So all of these, you can see that it says it's been already defined, right? So they have to be unique. Now here I'm going to say this dot and then model equals to model. And there we go. Now if I go back and here, I can simply remove all of this with the price and is water resistant. And there we go. So you can see that we have this constructor that only sets the actual model and nothing else, right? And then we are setting the price here. And then you also need to set the is water resistant. And there you have it. So this is how you work with constructors.